Hello and welcome to Fad or Future. I think we're actually up to number 11, if you can believe it or not. And this is actually going to be our CES 2021 edition. So I know we have some good topics. And with me, my name is Justin Callahan, but with me is Steve Williams. Say hello.
Hello and Happy New Year, Justin.
Happy New Year. We made it. Now we got more to go through. So we're doing good.
Don't sound so excited.
I am excited, but it was a really busy week, and not to say nothing of, but then on top of that, we had CES, which was just a bundle of news that I don't know about you. I didn't expect. Right, all virtual even. So I know we have a few topics. Do you want to go through them really quick for us?
Yes, we do. We're going to focus on CES this episode and hopefully make it fun and entertaining. Our first topic is going to talk about Fad or Future increasing TV resolutions. Then we're going to go into Project Brooklyn from Razer. So just hold on to see what that is. And then lastly, we're going to talk about rollable displays. And you probably just rolled your eyes. You're like, what am I talking about? But it's okay. We're going to explain that one too. So Justin, kick us off. What are we talking about with screen resolutions?
So screen resolutions is this was my interesting topic. So back up just for a quick second. For those of you might not be aware, might not be as keyed in as we are and excited about this. CES is actually the Consumer Electronics Show. It goes on every year, normally in Las Vegas, but it is actually virtual this year. But it is kind of the world's biggest show for consumer electronics. A lot of ideas or concept designs for a lot of new emerging consumer technology are really showcased, brought to the forefront. Videos or displays or examples are kind of presented, and so it's a really exciting time. So specifically for this topic, what we've noticed though this year is that there was a lot of conversation, not necessarily about the 4K resolution in just television. 4K televisions have been around forever. 4K displays have been around for quite a few years now. But it was more that 4K was kind of permeating the the nooks and crannies of the rest of technology. Laptop screens and support for 4K capable graphics cards and projectors.
I can get a 4K laptop screen now?
You can get a 4K laptop screen that can do pretty much anything you throw at it. And that's just kind of crazy. So the question really that we wanted to pose is this, 4K, is this just going to be a continual bump upwards? We're starting to hear about 8K televisions and 8K displays. And it seems like, we're constantly, back in the days of the old CRT monitors, we've kind of been iterating all the way up to 4K. Is it just going to keep going? More and more resolution, more and more.
It's all about the pixels.
It is all about the pixels. So what do you think about that, Steve? Kind of that news in general here.
Well, so we're saying basically it's been like a decade or 20-year fad, right? I mean, original TV from the 80s, 480 pixels. Is that right? Is that
sounds about right?
That's standard definition.
Hard to believe, but yeah.
Then somewhere in there we get to the HD 720 pixels. Then we got HD 1080p, 1080 pixels, and now we make this big leap to 4K. Now we're computer people, right? And in terms of binary, we do this multiples thing. So if we were to keep going, that means we go 4, 8, 16, 32? Yep. 32,000 pixels on a TV. So that's kind of what we're saying. Fad or future? Is this the end of a long fad of this kind of increasing screen resolutions? Or is this the future? We're going to, there's a period of time, maybe 5 years from now, we're going to start seeing 16 or 32K TVs. That's kind of our point right here.
Right. And I mean, I guess that brings us really to our fad or future question. Is this a fad?
So let me ask it this way, Justin. If they can't tell me I'm going to buy a TV with more pixels, because I'm going to pay for more pixels, what are they going to sell me on? Why am I buying the next generation? What's the point?
Yes. And that's the question. So I'm going to kind of answer that with my thought. I really think that this is a fad in the sense that I think we've kind of really hit the limit. 4K it's kind of just sitting on this edge of 4K, maybe looking at 8K, is really the most we're going to go for the resolution. I think really where we're going to see, a lot of changes in actual moving forward is going to be now the quality of the picture. It's not just the pixels, but it's the speed at which the pixels refresh, it's the colors and the depth and everything. I think those are going to be those selling points, as opposed to just you can see that extra little, blade of grass feature, in the smallest corner. I think there's going to get a point where people are just like, I can't tell the difference. My eyes are just not that good.
Your vote is 8K is the end of the train. This fad's over. It's now going to be about feature sets or micro LED or whatever the buzz term might be.
I think so. I think we're going to start looking outside of just the resolutions. 4K, maybe 8K is going to become like that's going to the de facto. That's going to be given.
I'm going to take the other side of it. I'm going to say, nope, this is still going to continue. This is the future. Because until we get to the point that I get the holodeck from the Enterprise on the next generation, we have not hit the right resolution. I expect more and more pixels until I am literally in the room with whatever happens.
All right, I like it. I like that approach. I mean, we'll have to see. We'll definitely have to see. And this is CES is the time to find out.
All right.
That's for sure.
Well, let's move on to topic number 2. Project Brooklyn from a company called Razer. So tell us who is Razer? Help our viewers know who Razer is.
So Razer is, their tagline says it all: by gamers for gamers. So this is definitely a gaming enthusiast company. They are notable for gaming accessories, be it headsets or keyboards and mice, anything that, the gaming edge, and they're clearly indicative by their bright green LEDs that they just affix on everything.
Well, they have a pretty loyal fan base, right? I mean, people who like Razer, they're pretty loyal to Razer, right?
Oh, definitely. And they're also a CES staple. They have a talent, definitely, for bringing out some crazy concepts. In the past, they've done completely modular computers. They've done tri-screen laptops. They've that the screens folded out. They do not shy away from throwing wild ideas at the wall and seeing what sticks.
Well, and I think the important thing there, I would say, is that they embrace change and they clearly have some R&D or innovation going on, right? They've made their own cell phone before. They got into handheld gaming when that was like not even something they made. They were just doing peripherals. So they clearly push their internal efforts to come up with what's the next big thing. And this Project Brooklyn, what is that?
So Project Brooklyn is it's a wild out concept. It's essentially a sit-up gaming chair.
Your picture here?
Yes. You almost can't describe it, but it is a set-back gamer chair with basically a table in front of it, and then surrounding the viewer's head screen is a roll-out LED monitor that would basically roll out in front of the user at head level and immerse them in that gaming experience.
Can I say it looks like an adult high chair? Can I say that?
There has been more than a few references to the Wall-E chairs, where you're just sitting there rolling around with the LED screen in front of you. So, but it's very interesting, and and Razer, even though they are a gaming organization, a lot of their ideas do have some merit in real world applications and especially in business applications too. They definitely for a while pushed the envelope of what a thin, heavy powered, ultrabook level laptop, a very capable laptop could do. They've made, very mobile accessories. So it's interesting to see kind of sometimes they're pulling along things that, ideas and concepts that'll bleed into the business and kind of the world at large too.
Well, I've always been a fan of augmented reality. When Microsoft was doing the whole augmented reality thing, I felt like that was a statement to the future of the workplace. It's taking a lot longer to happen. I mean, could Project Brooklyn be a workplace thing too?
Well, and that's what's crazy is that this chair has everything that you need in a very small footprint. I mean, you're negating the need for desks, for monitor stands. I mean, a whole lot of things, especially with smaller laptops and mini PCs. I mean, I don't know if Brooklyn actually included it, but you could probably affix a mini PC to the back of the chair and boom, that's a whole workstation.
Well, I don't know what all those green lines are coming up the back, but I'm guessing one of those must be a feeding tube, maybe, maybe it's some sort of raw oxygen feed coming in. I mean, clearly gamers want to stay in a chair for a long time. Now in
It's
the
the
workplace,
nutrient
you want to get up and
dispenser.
move around, but maybe you could just build a little rise lift in that, right? Let me stand up.
Yep, absolutely. And I mean, that might even, that would not be necessarily a bad thing. Right now, right, ergonomics was a big thing for a long while, making sure you're not hunched over on your laptop or your monitor. So if you're sitting in an ergonomic chair and you have this massive screen at face level, how is that that might even be a benefit. Honestly, there might be people that want that.
Look at that screen. I mean, you're getting almost 180-degree view. So you've got a lot of screen real estate. Like you said, gets rid of multiple monitors. If the chair adjusted angularly and it moved with me, then I could have different positions where everything's ergonomically in place. And clearly the tray is affixed to the arm, so it moves with it as well. And let's assume you're not using a physical keyboard, but you're using essentially some sort of haptic interface off that tray in front of you as your keyboard, right?
Yep.
A fatter future. What do you think of this? This is pretty prototype there.
See, and that's the thing, and that's what's funny about it is as off the wall a concept as it initially seems, when you'll sit down and you think about it, that makes more sense, or that might be a more interesting appeal in a workplace environment to me than maybe a standing desk. I think some of those things make more sense. I think that's the future. I think they're on to an idea that might.
I am sure when Henry Ford was working on a car and he said, "Get off of that horse, climb inside this metal box," people thought the same thing. Right?
Oh, for sure.
So we're saying just get out of that desk, climb into this high chair, and experience what it's like to be an adult baby.
A very effective, efficient adult baby because you got that nice high resolution screen right there.
Well,
all right. So what about you?
Fat or future?
I'm saying future. I'm saying this is an idea that's going to have merit.
I mean, it's pretty exciting to me. I always love these kind of off the wall concepts. I think anything where you can imagine this chair being at home or in the workplace and giving that kind of connectivity you need without a smaller equipment footprint. I don't know, it is pretty cool to think about it being the future. But in terms of how we do futuristic things, it's going to be iterations, I think. I think this is going to be a tough one. So I'll go fat on this and just say that this is a concept, but it's going to get picked apart. You might see the screen hitting a desk surface where it can work off any desk. You might see the chair, but having a fully inclusive situation where it's chair, tray, screen, I don't think it's going to sell too well. So I'm going to say fad.
It's going to be the all-in-one. This is the next all-in-one. It's an all-in-one computer environment.
Exactly. Yeah, all-in-ones did not do well. So. All right, topic number 3, rollable displays. What are we talking about here? Is that like roller skating? Is that a chair on wheels? What is a rollable display?
So I got a little bemusement out of this one. So rollable displays are an interesting concept. So probably insert another image here because it's again hard to describe. But the idea is that the display is actually inside of a smaller area, rolled on itself, so that the display's visible, size to the user can actually expand or decrease depending on their need. So in the case of, for example, a phone, you might have your display showing, just a few inches if you're quickly looking at notifications. But then if you're using your phone, it could actually expand the display, basically roll the screen out further. And now you have an almost tablet-sized display to work with.
Does that mean it's stretchy or like it's a fixed thing and I'm just undoing part of it? Like
it's as near as I understand it anyway, and I'm riffing off a lot of the knowledge about the LG TV that was presented last year that was rollable as well. But it's actually just a very mobile type of screen surface that allows it to curve and be not necessarily be folded on itself, but be rolled at that tight curve to fit inside of smaller units, basically.
So is this going to be for tablets, cell phones, TVs? What kind of things are we going to see rollable?
Well, and that's what I think is really interesting about this one, and that's kind of what surprised a lot of people is that when they showed it inside of a TV, that kind of made sense. For a big display that was just, something that you wanted to maximize and minimize the footprint of. Basically your sound bar, you turn on your sound bar and your TV rolls up from inside of your sound bar. But LG then turned around and said, well, no, we could do this on smaller displays too. We can have your phone be a small phone that could then turn into a tablet or, a Galaxy Fold kind of situation. So I think LG just handily said, no, this display technology could fit any size screen. It's just kind of where the use cases are going to be.
And this isn't the same as like displays on fabric, because that was a thing we saw a few years ago where they pushed up like this actual shirt sleeve and there was a screen on the shirt sleeve. That's not what we're talking about.
Right, and I'm going to butcher some of the technology, I'm sure, but it is actually the filaments that are in the fab or the design, the materials they are more mobile, so they don't have to be as fixed. The LED components don't have to be as fixed. They can actually bend and roll a little bit easier. And I think that's what all of that technology that LG has been working on that long is to make these displays more adaptable to whatever their situation is.
Oh, very interesting. So fad or future on this?
So it's an interesting concept, but of all of these new riffs on different types of displays, I really think the biggest weakness here is that somewhere in those devices there's a little machine, there's a little motor that's having that screen roll out, roll in, roll out, roll in, and trusting that on a phone that you jam in your pockets, oh man, I think that's a fad. I don't think that phone's gonna hold up to the needs.
So here's the piece. I would call this future, but there's a piece of the conversation that's missing, and it is, to me, because I've always made this argument that displays should be agnostic to whatever it is, and we've lacked this competent wireless technology to send displays to whatever. I mean, even now, I'm still not happy with the latency I get when I hook my Windows 10 to a wireless display. It should be faster, it should be more responsive, and it's just still not there. If that problem was solved with this technology, I think it would be great, because I could walk around with a screen and basically extend my phone screen, extend my laptop screen, and it's almost like better than a projector in a way, right? And especially if you're traveling, you could see something like this really being beneficial on airplanes or small quarters where you don't have a lot of space. I'm sure they're low on power consumption. They're probably low on heat generation. And again, you can't take a 24-inch monitor, but if I could take a fold-up screen, I could pretty much have more flexibility, right? So I think it could be a future.
Well, I think there's an interesting question too, and I maybe just because I have a lot of excitement. I love the projector technology and the world of projectors, but I would almost argue that like the rollable, the foldable displays, like at some point you're like arching into, well, we already solved that problem, that mobility issue. You just need a flat surface that anything can turn into a display if you have the flat surface. So it's definitely going to be interesting too to see how like those two play against each other. Because if you get to a certain size, it makes sense to just have you can have a projector the size of a smartphone, or you can have a projector the size of a lunchbox that you can take with you places. So it'll be very interesting for sure. But
okay. All right. Well, I'll go future, you'll go fad, and that leaves us pretty much split on all the topics today.
Yes, and that is really the spirit of CES. Nobody knows what's fad, nobody knows what's future,
and there's so much we didn't really get to cover. There's just a lot of great stuff that comes out of CES, so definitely check it out. A lot of great sites to summarize what's happening, but it's always an early indicator of what's coming, and we get excited about this stuff all the time, but CES is a big event to even pump that excitement up even more.
Agreed. And just off the cuff, just to accentuate that, do you have any ones that maybe we didn't get to mention now, but just a wild invention that you saw at CES that is maybe your favorite?
Oh yeah, the IBM autonomous boat. I didn't even get to talk about that. Don't get me started. If you want to hear more about that, you can post a comment below. Or if there's something you saw at CES that you want us to talk about, feel free to post a comment on our video. And of course, like and subscribe if you enjoyed our video today. Anything you want to take us out with, Justin?
No, but I do say I want to be able to speak to my sink faucet, and I want that soon. So I'm
Yeah,
really sold on that idea. That's my favorite one.
that's a good one. All right, everybody, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed our video. And again, like or subscribe if you want to stay in touch with us. And we will see you for episode 12 in about a month.
Thanks, everyone. Happy 2021. Bye.
Happy New Year.